And that is it. It is the 16th of April, 1940. The German Reich already controls most of the world. We have the biggest navy ever created by anyone. We have absolutely unstoppable armored divisions, which are incredibly powerful, with incredible modifiers given by this insane new engineer company. Look at the attack. Look at the fourth attack, plus 40%. It's almost better to attack into forts now. How about 900 casualties versus 612,000? How about that? What do you think about that comparison? And we are insane. We are officially insane. Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a very exciting one to share, as the new DLC is finally here and it is amazing. Now, the developers kindly offered me early access a couple of weeks ago, and I spent a lot of time experimenting with all of the new features and focuses. I loved every second of it, and I cannot wait to share with you this new run with historical Germany. If that sounds interesting, then this is the right video for you. Now, do keep in mind that this video was recorded before release, consequently some things may have changed or may change in the upcoming days and weeks. And if that's the case, do not worry, I will work on an updated version as soon as possible. As usual, you can find the research and focus priorities in the description of the video, and you can get access to the dedicated spreadsheet by purchasing a tier 2 membership. If you have any doubts, feel free to ask in the comments and to join our Discord to meet our amazing community. And of course, if you have been following the channel and enjoying the content I make, please do not forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing and leaving a comment. And that's all for the introduction, so let's get straight into our initial setup for New Germany. And guys, look at this. Look at how huge this focus tree is now. And today we're going to focus on the completely reworked historical path for Germany, but in the upcoming weeks we will also work on the alternative history paths, and especially on communist Germany, which looks very, very interesting. Now, one of the new features is available right here. First of all, we will need to pick a scientist, we will pick the armored-oriented one, and then we will need to pick a special project. The very first one we're going to pick is these military engineering vehicles. We will talk about it a bit later, but this new support company, the Assault Engineer Company, is absolutely amazing, and it will change the meta of this game. There is something else new in terms of buildings. We will see that too a bit later, but instead of building infrastructures and civilian factories in Rhineland and Moselland as we used to do, we're going to do it in Hessen and Moselland, and we're going to ignore Rhineland entirely. So we're going to build infrastructures first, and then 4 civilian factories in each, so 4 here and 4 here. And once that is done, we're going to start building military factories in Brandenburg, Hanover, Franken and Thüringen. So for what concerns our military production, this is going to be the priority. And for what concerns the naval production, we're going to remove the additional boats of these older models. We're going to assign a couple of dockyards to these heavy ships, and then we're going to max out dockyards on all the other ones. We're going to recruit as much infantry as possible. We will need it for the Anschluss to annex Austria. We're not going to use any cheesy trick, but right now, if you wanted to, by spamming cavalry, you can annex Austria very early as 1936 in fact. But we're not going to use that strategy. I also don't think it is the best strategy, because we can allow Austria to build their economy a little bit before annexing them. That's going to be more beneficial for us, in my opinion. And I'm going to rename the other divisions so that it is easier to follow my spreadsheet. Now, in terms of the army, we are going to split off the Panzer, or arm, the motorized. We're going to change everything else into regular infantry. And we're going to split them around with a couple of marshals. This will be the offensive one with armored and motorized, and this will be the defensive one, currently with 3 infantry armies. Then we will add 2 more defensive armies later on. And we're going to gather all of our planes, and once they gather, we're going to merge them, and we're going to send a couple of tactical bombers to Italy to fight in Ethiopia and farm some air experience for us. In terms of the navy, we're also going to gather our navy, and we're going to start training them. Okay, the first focus will give us enough political power to pick the first advisor. We're going to pick the MEFO Bills Architect, which will reduce the consumer good factories. And let me take this chance to talk about something. The MEFO bills were completely reworked, and if you look at them now, they are terrible. Because your consumer good factories factor will increase by 3% each month. That's a lot. Up to 100%. Meaning all of your civilian factories will eventually be used by the consumer goods, and you will not be able to use them to build anything. So that sounds terrible, right? there is a way to get rid of it early. And the way to do that is, instead of going for the 4-year plan, you can go for prioritize economic growth. This removes MEFO bills, but it gives you recovering economy, which still gives you plus 75% consumer good factories. Then by completing several focus down here, you will slowly get rid of those additional consumer good factories. So you are able, as you can see here, minus 15%, and here there is another minus 15%, another minus 10%. So as you complete these focuses, you will completely get rid of that debuff. On the other hand, if you go for the 4-year plan and you go down here, as you can see, you actually increase the consumer good factory used by MEFO bills. So this sounds terrible, and that was the shared opinion with some other content creators. However, there is a little trick in here that not everyone knows about, and that makes MEFO bills actually amazing. We'll talk about it in a bit. For now, trust me, they are not as bad as they look. They're actually amazing. Now, after completing this focus, we gain access to one of the new features and mechanics of this DLC, and it is this new focus tree here. Now, I love this. I absolutely love this, and I hope they expand this concept to other focus trees, to other countries, because this is really, really a lot of fun. So what you do here is you pick some of the famous German Nazi advisors, like Göring, Goebbels, Hesse, Bormann, and you only complete the very first focus here. You only select this one, and it's only 14 days. And then after selecting it, say you select this one, then Goebbels himself, he will keep researching the following focuses. They do not count as regular focuses, so you don't need to do anything anymore. Goebbels by himself, he will spend for 140 days to complete this one, then this one, then this one. And you will be able to pick up to 3 of them, which will be part of the inner circle, will help Adolf Hitler as advisors. Now, of course, as you can see here, there are 7 possible advisors, and there is only 3 slots in here, which means you cannot pick all of them. Additionally, these 3 here, they have only 1 potential path up here. So if you pick this one and this one, then when you get to this point, only one of these 2 focuses can be completed. So what I would recommend doing is picking one of these 3, we'll talk about which one later, and then picking Goebbels, Hesse, Bormann, or Himmler. My favorite ones are Todt, Goebbels, and Bormann. In any case, I really love this new mechanic. Our first choice here will be Goebbels because he gives us a plus 5% war support, which is incredibly convenient right now in only 14 days. So let's go on and do that. There we go. Focus already completed, and with 157 political power, we can already pick war economy. That's incredibly early. This new focus tree for Germany is really, really good. Germany is incredibly powerful in this DLC. You will see I'm very, very excited about this one. Okay, at some point you will get this message about Austria. We will pick they will not lose us that easily, which will reduce the required amount of divisions for the Anschluss. So that's very convenient for us. And we're also going to take this chance to renew our planes. So we're going to change our fighter into this new, much better model. This is thanks to the fact that Germany has access to cannons from the very beginning of the game. And then as soon as we have the required air experience, we're also going to change our CAS into this new model here. Now, as you can see, MEFO builds already take 25% of our consumer good factories. Things are looking bad, but there is a but. And here comes the trick. As soon as you complete this focus, well, first of all, the amount of consumer good factories increased by MEFO bills each month is decreased by 0.5%. So that's already good. But then here comes the big trick. So right now, MEFO bills take 28% of our consumer good factories. Well, look at what happens now. In here we have these new price control measures, which not only decrease the amount of consumer good factories taken by MEFO bills, but they actually also give you some buffs, like increasing your war support, increasing the popularity of fascism, increasing the amount of steel that you get. And some of them give you some very minor debuffs, but decrease by a lot MEFO bills consumer good factories. We're going to pick import tariffs, we're going to pick exploit the whatever, we're going to pick launch guns and launch arbate. And what this does is, it was 28% and now not only is not 28%, but as you can see, now it is minus 12%. So MEFO bills no longer increase the consumer good factories, they reduce them by 12%. And by carefully managing them through decisions and focuses, we will be able to keep our consumer good factories very low thanks to MEFO bills. It's easy to miss this one if you just look at the focuses, but it's actually amazing and it makes MEFO bills very, very good. Okay, Spanish Civil War time. So at this point we are going to force deploy everything we have, just so that we can send more volunteers. It should be 3. Let's check. Okay, and then let's send 3 volunteers, infantry divisions to Spain. We're going to send one of the best generals we have, this guy. So maybe he gets some nice traits for World War II. Okay, so this is going to be our priority for the infantry equipment MIO. Since I do not want to micro my volunteers, I'm just going to assign them an offensive line in the area of Madrid, and then we're going to set them, forget them. But if you want to micro these, you can farm specific traits slightly better. I'll leave it up to you. This is going to be our priority for the artillery MIO. We completed our first special project. We're not going to do much with it yet. But then later on, we're going to start producing these new support equipment. As you can see, it's quite expensive. But this will allow us to create a new support company, which is absolutely amazing. And it will be mandatory on any offensive division. Now we're going to pick our second advisor in here. As you can see, there is a 175 days cooldown, so you cannot pick them all right away. But I would suggest picking them on cooldown, because then they will keep researching focuses by themselves. And by the way, as they proceed, they will consume more and more political power. But Germany now has a huge amount of political power, maybe even a bit too much. It may be nerfed at some point. So that's really not an issue. We're going for Todt, which at some point will give us an amazing design company. We're also going to pick our army organization expert. This is also the right time to start recruiting another 24 infantry divisions. And now this focus is why we did not build anything in Rhineland so far. And it is because now we're going to get 2 civilian factories in there, which is amazing, but especially we are going to get a dam. Dams are some of the new buildings types which were created with the new DLC, added with the new DLC. It's something you do not build yourself. You either already have them or you can get some through focuses. And this is an example. And as you can see, they're quite amazing because they give you an extra 15% construction speed, 15% max factories, and 10% local resources. So this is a very cool focus, and after completing it, we are going to build in Rhineland as well. Okay, at 30 political power, we are going to pick collect scrap metal, so decrease once more the consumer good factories. And at this point, I usually stop training the fleet, which should be trained, and if it isn't, it's probably because something is very damaged. So it's better to stop them in any case. Okay, we got our dam, but we also got 3 military factories, more importantly, which means we're going to make some adjustments here, and especially we're going to start producing this new vehicle. We're going to do it by adding the tank designer to it, first of all, and then we're also going to produce it with that tank designer. So we basically add it 2 times. And then we start producing it. Only one factory is enough. We're going to keep producing it from now to all the way to World War II. But let me show you why it is amazing. So this is what the engineer company does at the moment. So as you know, it gives you some nice buffs, mostly to defense and movement, except for forts. Well, here is what happens when you switch it to the assault engineer company. Now look down there. In forts, we lose 15% defense, but we gain 15% attack, and we gain an extra 5% attack in rivers, forests, hills. In urban territories, we gain plus 20% attack. In jungle, another plus 5%. In marshes, another 5% attack. So this is absolutely amazing, and this buff to the attack increases, of course, as you keep researching the engineer technology. So this will be absolutely mandatory. You can bet on that on any offensive division in the game from now on. Now, in addition to building this new vehicle, we are also going to increase the production of infantry equipment to 25, F1 to 25 as well, and C1 to 50. At 100 political power, we are going to pick our friend Göring as the Reichsmarshal. And look at that nice production cost reduction for fighters. We're also going to build infrastructures plus full military factories in Rhineland, and then more military factories in all of the 100% provinces. We're also going to force deploy these 2 infantry divisions, and we're going to start training another 11 motorized divisions. Now up here, our next goal is to go for the Anschluss, and we have a couple of options. We have the historical one, which goes towards Ribbentrop, and this is not really great because the modifiers you get are not the best ones. As you can see, you get a minus 10% supply range. I'm not a big fan of that. And the discounts on air, navy and army advisors are not really good. On the other hand, this guy gives you some very, very nice modifiers. Plus 10% to all experience is really good. You gain plus 5% base stability, which is also very good. And you also gain access to this focus, which I really like. Less attrition and more supplies. That's amazing. However, This guy increases the justify goal time by 15%, and that's really not great. Now, as you know, usually as fascist countries, when you justify while at war with a major, it only takes 10 days to get a claim on most countries. What you actually get is 60 days, 40 to 60 days to get your claim, while if you pick Ribbentrop, it will be 10 days. So we are going to stick with Ribbentrop so we can justify on more countries during World War II. If you don't care about that, if you don't want to claim everything, if you're not going for a world conquest or you just don't care, then I think this guy is actually a bit better than Ribbentrop. This is the MIO priority for trucks. Okay, as soon as you complete this secondary focus, our dear friend Todd completed it, now we can pick the new industrial concern, and we are going to pick the organization Todd, which for now gives us some nice construction speed to military factories, but especially this will become amazing later on as Todd completes more focuses. The very next one, as you can see, will increase the max factories in a state by +1, in addition to another +5% military construction speed. So this is actually very, very good. Okay, now after the Anschluss, we're going to make some changes. First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to pick 2 additional price control measures. These ones will decrease our base stability by a little bit, but it doesn't matter because we have very high stability anyway. And they are going to decrease by a total of 20% the consumer good factories. Then we're going to delete the new cavalry and mountaineers. We're not going to use them, but we're going to use this infantry, the Austrian infantry, for def. So we're going to change this into def. We're also going to change all of the new divisions that we got into def. So we're going to recruit another 42 divisions because we already had 6. In any case, you want a total of 48 defensive divisions. We're also going to create a new division. We're going to make it the cheapest possible one. So 1 cavalry, and this will be our new garrison. At this point, we can also change the occupation law to local police force, and we're going to change the occupation garrison template to garrison cav. We're also going to force deploy everything. We're going to pick both army and air spirits. For army spirits, we are going for bold attack, motorization drive, and maneuver warfare. And for the air spirits, we are going for air crew surveys and centralized control. And now we should have an increased amount of volunteers that we can send to Spain and to Japan. It should be 2 more to Spain, so let's prepare them. And it should be 5 to Japan. Then we're going to build 2 refineries in all of the 100% provinces. We're going to decrease the production of infantry equipment to 10, and we're going to give everything to F1 with a lower priority though. We're also going to create an agency. Now, I will not cover the agency in detail, and it's actually not mandatory for this guide, so you can skip it entirely if you want. But what we're going to do is we're going to get 5 upgrades, and then we're going to get a total of 4 spies, thanks to the German trees. And we're going to use 1 spy in the UK, and the other 3 spies in the United States to create collaboration governments. And by the way, we are slightly late, but as soon as you can, you should also pick the Flame Pants special project. Now, our volunteers got to Japan, and for them we're going to use an amazing general that you get from Austria. This guy, level 2 with 5 attack. This guy's insane. So we're going to give him a chance to become even more insane with bold attack in Japan. So this is going to be our priority for the fighter MIO. And by the way, now that we are spying the UK for the first time, we have a raid available. This is one of the new features. Now we'll cover it maybe more in detail in another video. I must say that at the moment I find it quite easy to completely ignore this new feature, because as you can see here, what we can do is we can start a raid to this UK facility. This is a naval engineering facility, so likely by destroying it we will slow down a little bit their naval technology. It's not too expensive to make it, so we could, but I honestly don't see the need to do so. So I think we can completely ignore this. I can see this potentially being more useful in multiplayer, in which case maybe you can prevent someone from getting, for example, flamethrower tanks, or the assault engineer company, which is very, very good. So if you can prevent another player from getting this stuff, then it may be worth investing in raids. But against the AI, I really don't see much point in doing so. I mean, here you can slow down their naval technology a bit. Okay, yeah. Here you can take oil from Romania. Yeah, that's alright, but you know, we're going to destroy Romania completely. While in a tough multiplayer game, I can see the situation in which we, as the Axis, have Romania and we rely on the oil from Romania. And if, say, the Soviet Union or the United States destroy our oil fields in Romania, then we're going to struggle a bit more to keep up with fuel for our tanks. There could be a play for it, but I just don't see it in a single player. Still, it can be fun. It's a new mechanic and it can be fun to interact with. But we're not going to do it now. Okay, as soon as you complete these focus, these unlock some new decisions which are very, very good. We're going to use them because these decisions will increase the construction speed in some of your regions. And since we are swimming in political power, we're going to develop Central Germany and Western Germany, which are the areas of Germany in which we are building the most at the moment. We're also going to pick radio propaganda. We are going to pick the Minister for Labor. And we're going to force deploy everything we can deploy so that we can possibly send more volunteers to Spain and to Japan. Yes, the number increased to 7, so let's send a couple more volunteers to each. Okay, as soon as you complete this additional focus here, as I mentioned earlier, this gives us basically an extra slot for factories everywhere. It's like a bit of a concentrated. In addition to the extra military factory construction speed. It's actually amazing. These new advisors are amazing, and the fact that they complete focuses on their own is really, really fun. So what we're going to do now is we're going to build more military factories in all of the 100% provinces. Then we're going to make sure that we're completing 2 refineries in each of these provinces, and actually in Franken we were only building 1, so we're going to build 1 less military factory and 1 more refinery in there. Now we want the military factories to be our highest priority. And then we're going to build more military factories also in all of the 80% provinces. Okay, as soon as we complete this research, we need to build our new tanks, which would be amazing. This is going to be the tank MIO priority. The tank design hasn't changed. This is my usual World War II amazing tank design. So we're going to change our armored template to this one. We're going to make it elite, give it a cooler icon, give it the assault engineer company, logistics, and then as soon as possible we will also add the medium flame tank company. And we can start recruiting 9 of them. So F1 and C1 down to 5 and everything else into T1. And finally, we got our Flame Panzer as well. For the Flame Panzer, we are going to use this very basic design, very cheap one too. We're going to give it 1 factory from tanks. This is going to be the priority for CAS. I'm going to make some minor changes to our naval production. We're going to start making this new design here. These are empty heavy ship hulls, and this is the best way to achieve naval superiority. So we're going to make these only for that purpose. These are not actually good in a battle. So we're going to give these infinite production and maximum dockyards future ones. Then we're also going to start making convoys and some additional submarines as well. All infinite, all Mach dockyards, all lowest priority. Okay, as you complete this focus, we're immediately going to pick this develop ersatz material to decrease the consumer good factories. Now MEFO bills will start kicking in. Now we are at 15% consumer good factories, but it's almost time for World War II. So as you can see, we managed to keep it extremely low. And look at the buffs. Look at that nice 15% extra military factory construction speed, the efficiency cap, the efficiency growth, the efficiency retention. These are all very, very good buffs. And once we start the war, we're going to solve the consumer good factories issue forever. As we complete this focus, we're going to make some changes. We're going to use some of our army experience. First of all, we're going to pick the Blitzkrieg theorist. And then we're going to pick all of the mobile warfare doctrines. Look at how much the first one costs with all the discounts we have. And they remain so cheap that we can actually unlock quite a lot of them. All the way to breakthrough, which is fantastic. And that means we can also pick breakthrough as our favorite tactic. We're going to force deploy all armored divisions. And we're going to start training all of them. We're also going to deploy all planes, and we're going to train all of them. And to do all of these, we're going to need some oil. So we're going to start importing oil from the Soviet Union. A total of 5 factories usually is enough. Okay, as we complete all of our air researches, we can design the new fighters and CAS. We're going for the usual very, very solid F2 design. And for our C2, we're going to use this design here. Now we want to change the production, and we want the production of F2 to go all the way up to 25. C2 can stay at 5. We can take these factories from tank and leave all the other ones on tanks. Now we also want to start setting up our armies for World War II because it's almost time for some action. We already picked Danzig War. And we don't have any of our generals assigned. So for the main marshal here, we are going to use the guy who was leveling up in Japan. And look at how insane this guy became. The only reason we don't use him as a general is that unfortunately he's an infantry leader. But still, these stats are absolutely insane. So we're going to promote him and we're going to use him as the offensive marshal here. Let's give him breakthrough, the best tactic in the game. And I would say Logistic Wizard is a good one, although Troop Planner is also a nice one. So maybe later on he can pick both. For now, only Logistic Wizard. For the tank army, we are going to use the guy who was in Spain. He didn't level up at all, I must say. So Heinz Guderian. Well, whatever. So Heinz is also another good choice here. Maybe slightly better. I don't know, the two are pretty close. But I do like these additional planning. So maybe we're going for Eric von Manstein here. And the other generals don't really matter. Just go for something with good defensive stats. Now, we want everybody to have the highest motorization priority, including the defensive army. We should be able to afford it easily. And then we're going to set up our tanks to push into Poland. Now, hopefully this will be fixed by the time you watch this video. But currently, in the beta that I am playing, the spearhead is completely broken and it doesn't work anymore. So we are forced to use offensive lines instead. Which is alright, it's not great. I really like spearheads. We are going to have to do without it for now. Motorized, as usual, follows our tanks around. We're also going to assign these weaker infantry, the volunteer infantry, to this front. A full infantry army to the border with France. And then we're going to send another full infantry army up here. And the defensive armies, one here and one here. This is a bit of an overkill, but better safe than sorry, you know? Let's make sure that we deployed all planes. Now we're going to assign them all to our offensive army and to the tank army specifically. But actually I want about 600 of them to be on defensive purposes and to kill as many British planes as possible. We're also going to pick our advisors. We're going to pick, of course, the armor genius, Rommel. We're going to pick the army regrouping. And we're going to pick the close air support expert. Now, once our divisions are in position, I'm also going to block all of the sea regions around us. So something like this. No access to the sea. No naval warfare at all. Ready for some action, boys? I am. I definitely am. With so many doctrines, so many buffs, our divisions are absolutely insane. Look at the soft attack. It's crazy. So, we get our claim on Danzig. It is World War II time, boys. And we start by declaring war on Poland, of course. Now, shortly after, we will get this message and we will pick rearmament, has always been our goal. This will remove one of our advisors. There we go. So we can pick another one now. And we're going to pick the Minister of Economy to decrease the consumer good factory a little bit. We're also going to pick the Minister of Foreign Affairs, good Joachim von Ribbentrop. We're going to pick war bonds. And we're going to start planning an operation against Poland. This is how they portrayed Blitzkrieg into the game. Blitzkrieg isn't exactly a doctrine, it's more of a planning strategy. And every time you start a war against a country and you have a land border with them, so for example we cannot do this against the UK until we disembark on the UK, well, you can activate these special military campaigns, which will be active only for a limited amount of time, as you can see, only for 45 days. But for those 45 days, our armored divisions will be boosted. 10% speed, 10% attack, and 5% breakthrough. And we like that, so why not? Let's get it. Now we're also going to pick the last stuff here, the decisive battle expert. We don't usually pick, I never pick these guys because they used to decrease the max command power, but in this case now they actually increase it. So we're going to pick this guy too. And let's start our first push and let's see how it goes, boys. And trust me, it will be fun to see. We do need to speed up, slow down the speed a bit. But you will not notice that we decrease from 5 to 3. You will not notice at all. Because our tanks are absolutely steamrolling them, completely destroying them. Oh yeah, by the way, at this point we're also going to pick extensive conscription, so we don't run into manpower issues. Funnily enough, we would never have manpower issues in terms of casualties, but in terms of occupying territories, we may have some issues. Stop pushing that, please, for the love of God. Warsaw is down already. At this point, we can also start justifying a war goal on Hungary. Poland is down. We got 1,000 casualties. That's actually a bit more than usual. Usually stay within the 500 casualties, but that's alright. Now, of course, we get ready for the Netherlands. And now, how does this help with our increasingly expensive MEFO bills? Well, now we can seize the Polish gold reserves, and this will decrease the consumer good factories by 30%. Look at that. And yes, Poland will get some maluses, but we don't care. Overall, in a long war, if you had to keep occupying Poland, this would be quite bad. But since our war will end very fast, we don't have to deal with resistance. We really don't care, so it's really not an issue. We'll prepare our armies here, because later on we will use the infantry to cover this front. So at least one infantry and one defensive will stay around this area. And the last defensive can be at the border with Yugoslavia and Hungary, which will be our targets later on. So we're going to claim Hungary, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria and Greece. We're not going to attack them yet, but we prepare our claims. And Romania will protect Yugoslavia, so we will soon be at war with all of these countries. Okay, we got our claims on the Netherlands and Belgium, so we can start the war immediately. Let's attack the Netherlands. And by the way, let me mention something here. We have this operational planning, but first of all, you cannot spam it. If you have already an operation ongoing, you cannot use it immediately. As you can see now, even though Poland fell, we still have the operation ongoing, so we cannot use another one on France. The other thing is, it's not always worth using this campaign. It still costs some command power, which by the way we don't have at the moment, some army experience. So you should only use this when you feel like it's actually needed. And sadly for the Netherlands, they are not the biggest of challenges, as you can see. Now it's time for Belgium. Also not the biggest of challenges, although Belgium was reworked, and I believe a Belgium guide is due, because Belgium will likely be very strong if played correctly. Now that the Netherlands are down, we can also seize their gold reserves and decrease our consumer good factories by another 16.5%. Yeah, look at the AI, so smart. I told you to push there. Where do you push? In a level 10 freaking fort. Stop pushing there immediately. And we're going to take the Luxembourg gold reserves as well. Belgium is down, and we can start getting ready to take down France, which will not take much longer actually. And France is down. We are not going to establish Vichy France. We're going to keep everything for ourselves. Now we're also going to take the Belgian gold reserves, another minus 18% to consumer good factories. We're going to use a couple of tanks here to get rid of the last remaining British divisions, especially the harbors can be otherwise a little bit annoying. I'm going to use the infantry divisions that were here to protect the coast against potential naval invasions. We don't want any tricks from the UK. Oh yeah, by the way, our economy of conquest is now at minus 12% consumer good factories. Once we're done with our claims in the Balkans, we can start fabricating claims on some other countries that we're going to tag, which means we're going to declare war on them, but we're not actually going to attack them. And those countries are going to be Iraq, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Yemen, Oman, Liberia. Then we're going to do the same on Ireland, Iceland, Siam, and then we're going to justify on Spain and Portugal. I'll not cover all of these in the guide, but we're going to do it just so that we can claim all of that stuff in the peace conference at the end of the war. Okay, let's go after Hungary in the meantime. We also got our claims on Denmark and Norway, so let's go full rampage mode and get a white peace with Denmark right away. Okay, no more French in France, which is great. And no more Hungary as well. Next, it's time to take down Yugoslavia. Not a big challenge, but Yugoslavia can be a little bit more annoying, so we're going to use the planning against them. And we also want to set up our troops at the border with Romania, because Romania will join. And meanwhile, we need to pay attention to planes. First of all, because we want to destroy as many British planes as possible. So at this point, we can move some of our planes in here. I think that's where the most British planes will be. And we want to keep engaging them. Now, as you can see in here, we are winning big time the battle for the skies. Yeah, you can see it here. We already destroyed 322 of their planes in here. We will soon destroy a lot of their planes in here. And by the way, guys, our casualties at the moment, 4K with Poland, the UK, Belgium, and the Netherlands down. It's looking pretty good. Okay, I think it's time for Yugoslavia to go down. War on Yugoslavia. Let's wait for the planning. There we go. And let's go. Now keep an eye on your war goals, because you don't want to run out of time. So we have until the 10th of December to declare war on Bulgaria. Looks fine. We should have enough time. We unlocked a special new raid, which is to destroy the Big Ben. We need the air superiority on the UK. And I mean, this is another thing. It can be fun, sure, but it's really not needed. We're not going to waste our time doing that. Yugoslavia is down. Very smooth. But our priority now is taking down Bulgaria. Okay, Bulgaria is down. Looks like I may be slightly late with Greece. Because Romania will go down, but not instantly. So we can start preparing our troops at the border with Greece, just in case. I mean, it's undeniably incredibly fun to just steamroll your opponents like this. It's just like they don't exist at all. They just completely get disintegrated. Completely. You want to go to some place, you just right click there and your divisions will be there in 2 seconds and destroy everything on their path. Pass, please. Nice. Very, very good. Okay, now let's send our tanks immediately down to Greece. Greece can be surprisingly annoying to take down, as Italy knows very well. Of course, we're not going to call Italy. We don't want to share our juicy war score with anyone, so everything is only for us. Now, here we do need to protect this additional coastline that we just conquered, and later on we'll need to do it even more. I saw some casualties there, so I think, yeah, thank you. Yeah, Romania was a bit annoying. Romania was a bit annoying. That's okay though, still pretty good. Time for Greece to go down. You see how stupid these divisions are? You have a big encirclement there, and you don't take it. Greece is down, perfect. Now we can prepare for Spain. Spain will not join the Allies, but they are still a bit annoying, because they are quite big. Epic, the new music, by the way, the new music is absolutely epic. I love this. Okay, time for Spain to go down. At this point we also justify on Portugal. And against Spain, since Spain can be a little tricky, we are going to use the campaign as soon as we can get it. There we go. Let's get it, and let's go against Spain. First push in the mountains with tanks. What mountains? I don't see any mountains. I see Spanish divisions being steamrolled. I don't see mountains. Yeah, I do see our tungsten going away though. So we need to suffer a bit until we get to Portugal. Now, in fact, I do want to rush Portugal because I want to take them down first. So we are going to try, although without spearheads, that's almost impossible. But we're going to try to push into Portugal. They really don't want to push where I told them. Why? Why? Why do you have to go down there? Why? Okay, let's take down Portugal. And then there is another big surprise, guys, in a little bit. Because the UK will be defending. A big new thing with the DLC. The UK defending its mainland. Sounds crazy. They sound insane, but they do it. They actually do it. Those crazy motherfuckers actually defend their mainland now instead of Madagascar. Can you believe it? Well, Portugal is down. And Spain is down. In the case of Spain, since it's a separate peace conference, we can puppet them, take resource rights, and take their navy, which can be quite convenient, actually. We got a notification, and it is a raid incoming, so the UK is actually trying to raid our facility in France. To be honest, completely honest with you, we absolutely don't care, but just for fun, we can try to defend it. We just need the air superiority, and we need the 500 planes on interception mission, and that's done. Now, the other thing we want to do, of course, is we want to start planning our naval invasion of the UK. And yes, big news, the UK will be defending, and it will be defending very hard. It's much more difficult than before to get the naval superiority. And it is much more difficult than before to invade them, because they will defend their coastline and they will have a huge amount of divisions on the mainland. This was one of my main complaints with the regular game, and I'm very happy that this was finally addressed. That being said, we are still going to completely destroy them and smash them, but that's because we are Germany. With minors, this will be a lot more challenging, so I'm looking forward to that too. Invading the UK from this side was easier before, but right now I found it to be much more difficult. I found it to be much more difficult, especially to get the naval superiority. The UK keeps their navy in here, so we need to use all of our tools to get the invasion done. So we're going to focus entirely on the channel. We need to have the air superiority. Without air superiority, we cannot get the invasion done. And then we need to gather our fleet and use our spy. In fact, we're going to use our spy right now to build up this intel network a little bit more. And then we're going for a naval invasion from Dunkirk to the area of Portsmouth and over. So groups of 2 like these, and then it is very, very important that we assign all of our planes, including CAS, to this region. And we send the CAS on naval strike, so we can maybe cripple a little bit their navy. And we try to get the air superiority, the full air superiority in the region. Then of course we need to unblock some of these naval regions, because we need to gather our fleet entirely in Dunkirk. Let's give a look at the casualties, by the way, guys. We are still at 10k. How insane is that? Now, the invasion of the UK has a bit of RNG, so if we are unlucky, we may get some casualties in there with the naval invasion itself. But 10k casualties before the UK goes down, it's absolutely crazy. We just steamrolled everyone in here. Don't sign the tripartite pact. In this way, we can attack Italy more freely later on without worrying about Japan. Okay, our naval invasion is ready, so this is the moment of truth. Will we get the naval superiority or not? Let's see. Ooh, easy, easy peasy. But trust me, it's not as easy as it seems. It is easy because we have the air superiority, because we destroyed their air force almost completely, and we already destroyed part of their navy. Otherwise, it's very challenging now to get the naval superiority. Also, getting the naval superiority is not everything, because you will see what happens in a few seconds when we start this naval invasion. Okay, by the way, we can get Italy now. Remember to justify on Italy before the war is over. Our fleet will take some damage, and as you can see, they're protecting the harbors very well. Usually they protect the entire coastline. In this case, it looks like they aren't, so we did catch them old style. Thank you, UK. I mean, you defended in every single test run. And now, I just wanted to show you don't defend as usual. Oh my god. You wanted me to look bad. Admit it. Why do you have to be always disappointing, UK? Why? You did defend before. Trust me. I swear, they used to defend. They are better at defending. I still think they will send more divisions in here, trust me. Now, come on, look at them. Look at them. They have divisions. Also, by the way, let's get the planning against the UK. This can be quite beneficial. Because, again, they do defend, trust me. Yeah, look at the divisions they have in here. Come on. This is not old-style UK. They have a lot of divisions. I mean, they still suck, yes, but they have a lot of divisions. They're stopping us. I think the UK is almost down. Our final casualties are 17k. In World War II, we caused them 1.5 million casualties. We did this entirely by ourselves. We took all of Europe, and the UK is about to go down. We did this by ourselves, so we don't have to share this war score with anyone. It's 100% for the German Reich. And the UK is in fact down. Now, the peace conference will be incredibly tedious, but I will make it very easy for you. We're going to annex Danzig and Gdynia, since we have cores. Alsace and Luxembourg, since we can get cores. And we're going to annex Southern Ontario and St. Lawrence, because we're going to use them to invade the United States. So this stuff we annex. Everything else, we puppet, with resource rights, war operations, and then we take all navies. That's all you need to know. Now, I will spend the next 5 minutes of my life picking them one by one. And that is it. It is the 16th of April, 1940. The German Reich already controls most of the world. We have the biggest navy ever created by anyone. We have absolutely unstoppable armored divisions, which are incredibly powerful, with incredible modifiers given by this insane new engineer company. Look at the attack. Look at the fort attack, plus 40%. It's almost better to attack into forts now. Plus 20% into cities. Insane, insane. But I cannot feel entirely satisfied until I pay a visit to my old country that I miss so much. So let's go pay Mussolini a visit and show him how to properly build tanks. And then we can call this run a success. And by the way, guys, what about our consumer good factories? Well, right now 38% of our factories are going to the economy of conquest. That's not great. But now we can pick autarky achieved. And this completely gets rid of all of the consumer good factories. As you can see, it sets them to 0%. And it gives us some other insane bonuses, like construction speed, factory and dockyard output. There is a double factory output actually in there. That's amazing. So that's great. In 70 days, no more consumer good factories. Now, one very important thing about this focus, however, is as you can see, you need a huge amount of resources for this to be completed. And those resources must be either under your direct control or under the control of your subjects, which is why we can do it now. We puppeted half of the wood, so we have all of the resources in the wood. However, currently, and I talked to the developers about this, I think they will probably change it. Currently, these resources only count if you get the resource rights. If you do not get the resource rights, you need one individual puppet to have 800 steel. Instead, if you have the resource rights, the total sum of the steel from all of your puppets will count towards this target. And hopefully they will make it so even without resource rights, because resource rights, as you know, require the By Blood Alone DLC. So you need another DLC to be able to easily do this. Otherwise, it's quite tricky to get these requirements. Let's go to Italy. I actually want to use the special planning against Italy, but I cannot do it because I have already the ongoing operation against the UK. Well, I guess no special planning for us then. And now look at how Italy disappears from the map. It's tough. It's tough to see Italy getting destroyed so much. Mussolini is already deposed. How about 900 casualties versus 612,000? How about that? What do you think about that comparison? And that's it. Italy is gone. Italy is down. That's it. Now that Italy is... well, this is a bit too late. I'm sorry, boys. Italy went down too fast. Okay, so 951 factories in June 1940. And we are insane. We're officially insane. Now, guys, this is the end of this run. Although we have a perfect setup to go after the United States. We already have 3 collaboration governments. Well, the third one is almost done. So we can easily take down the United States and then go after the Soviet Union for Barbarossa. This definitely will not be part of this video, but if you want me to continue this run, of course we can do that. Let me just say a couple of things about this new Germany. Germany was one of the strongest and easiest countries to play before this DLC. And now it's probably a bit more challenging. There are more things to take care of, more options, a lot more options to play Germany, which in the end is what we really wanted, a giant focus tree. What they really managed to do is to make Germany even more powerful than it used to be, which is absolutely amazing. Now in this video, we didn't cover all of the new things. We didn't talk too much about raids. We used some of the special projects. But then there are more new things that we didn't get to see much in this video, and you will see in upcoming videos. For example, the new force concentration from the AI. Well, there is no force concentration against Germany. We are the force concentration. We destroy everything. So we will need to see how it works when we play against Germany. And now Germany looks very scary. But overall, I'm very, very happy with how it feels to play Germany now. I love these additional focuses. This one was a lot of fun. So guys, you should definitely play the new Germany because it's really a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this run, if you have any suggestions for further improvements. I have a plan for future videos, but let me also know in the comments what you would like to see next. As usual guys, if you enjoyed the video, a lot of work goes into this, so please don't forget to support the channel by liking the video, subscribing to the channel and leaving me a comment. If you stayed with me until now, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next videos. There will be a lot of content coming, and I'm really confident that this DLC will bring a lot of people back to the game. It will be a lot of fun, and it will be great to share it with you. Bye bye!